So this video is going to be for those of you guys that want to begin coming out of hiding, okay? And want to know how to do that. But before we get started, let me quickly recap what God shared with me in the last video. So last week, God gave me my first word of 2025. Literally, we're in September here, and I finally got my first word. The last one I got was December 15th of 2024. And in true God fashion, I get the word and it goes viral. You're in hiding and it's time to come out. What he has inside of you does not flourish in the condition that you're currently hosting it in. You are surviving when he wants you to thrive. He's not calling you to save the world. He's calling you to save yourself from the island that you are stranded on. You've made this island your home and it is not your home, but it's difficult for you to embrace what he has for you because this is where you feel safe and he needs you to break the stronghold you are under because you are being deceived into a state of what is almost like permanent isolation. You are operating like a cactus. You were planted in environments that were depriving. You were not adequately nourished. So rather than wither away, you became a cactus, a species that is designed for drought. You are truly a survivor. But God said that he's restoring you to your rightful place, and no longer will you operate and function in the version of you that you had to become out of survival and lack of love and support, community, guidance, direction, all of these things, right? Because that will no longer be your portion. He wants to plant you like a tree by water, but first you have to trust him and release your allegiance to doing it all alone. He wants to take you through the journey that will break you free from all the reasons that you have that justify you remaining in the state that you are currently in. And it's all going to begin with you breaking the stronghold that the enemy has over your mind. And the stronghold is broken only one way. It's going to be broken through you dedicating yourself to fasting. But the fast is only the beginning. The fast is what's going to give you the victory in the spiritual realm. You're still going to have to align yourself with the work he's having you to do practically in order to actualize that freedom. But if you do that, right, you commit yourself to that process, there will be an acceleration and favor that follows you because you're not doing it on your own strength with your own wisdom or your own logic. You are doing it with him, and he will guide you to the tools and resources and people that will assist you and support you in pulling out the lies, destroying them, and revealing the truth and healing you through that truth. So breaking free and stepping into that new season that God is calling you into, right? You know, coming out of hiding, coming out of isolation. There's a spiritual component of this and there's the practical component of this, right? The way that he showed me the reason these individuals specifically that he's speaking to are in isolation, it is not because they're necessarily in a season where they're supposed to be in isolation. Okay. Like we go through these moments where it's healing, it's purpose. We need to step away. We need to recalibrate. God needs to speak to us. So we're having our own little sabbatical, right? This has gone beyond a sabbatical. These individuals are hiding. Like hiding is the word that he's using. So if you're sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, is this word, is it, belong to me? Just because I use the word isolation and you feel like you're entering into a season of isolation does not mean that you need to stop the season that you're stepping into. No, these specific individuals that God is speaking to, these leaders, you are hiding. You are hiding and you are, right? Like when you heard it, like you knew that I was calling you out because he gave me such a clear picture of where your state of mind and where your state of being is. Okay. So let's not confuse that. So if it does not apply to you, listen, move on or share it with the person that it does. But going back to you individuals that are in hiding, you're going to have to rebuild trust in yourself, trust in God, trust in that everything is going to be okay when you move forward. You're also going to have to develop self-compassion. And if you're anything like me that was built on tough love, that can sound strange, right? It can sound like coping. It can sound like, oh, it's not going to do much. No, you're going to have to develop self-compassion. Let me help you understand why. Because your nervous system is dysregulated. You are not going to take the proper steps in coming out of hiding and coming out of isolation if you don't feel safe. It's as simple as that. That's why I said there's the spiritual component, right? And there's the practical component. You're not coming out, like, what did he say in the word? Like I have it here, right? He said that he knows your fear of being more accessible to others, but that's why he wants you all to go through what he had me call the Esther year, 1 year of mandatory self-care. And I mentioned the Esther year is something I did back in February because he said this is what's required to bring you into purpose, right? But the Esther year says Esther, but it's going to be a lifestyle. But it's through that Esther year that you're really going to learn your capacity. You're going to set boundaries. You're going to learn how to better protect yourself, how to better nourish yourself, how to better support yourself. You are not going to nourish and support yourself properly if you're struggling in the area of self-compassion. And this goes back to the cactus example. A cactus is designed for drought. So a cactus is hoarding the rain that it received in this one season, and it could be however many seasons before it receives any rain. So that means that you're operating on deprivation. So out of operating on deprivation, you're learning how to conserve whatever little bit of joy you got, whatever little bit of love you have, whatever little bit of whatever you had in this season. That's what's sustaining you through this island that you're currently on. You're not being truly filled in the ways that God desires for you to be filled. You are surviving. You are not thriving, right? And God desires for us to thrive. And most importantly, operating in this state of isolation, being stranded on that island, the gifts and the purpose that he has inside you is just simply not going to flourish there. It's not. Now, if you are okay with that, then you're okay with that. You know what I mean? It's like Jesus still loves you. He's still going to be your friend. He's still going to sit there with you. You know what I mean? Like he's still going to, love on you from where you're at, right? But there's just simply going to be limitation in terms of the things that you're able to achieve and the things that you're able to do, because you've chosen that you prefer to be in isolation. You prefer to be stranded. You prefer to be in your fortress. You prefer to operate like a cactus. And if that's your preference, we have to deal with the natural consequences. Consequences is not a bad word all the time. It just simply means like the after effect. You just simply have to deal with the natural consequences of your choice or your decision. But if you decide that you want to come out of hiding and come out of isolation, there's natural consequences for you making that decision as well, right? Yes, there's that uncomfortable piece, but there's also the piece of you are going to wreck your nervous system that feels so safe where you currently have it. And this is why, I love God, but this is why fasting is so important, because fasting, the power that the enemy has, right? And the power that our flesh has over us, it's going to break that stronghold, because there's going to be a natural reaction that you are going to have to the fact, even just the idea of coming out of hiding, coming out of isolation is enough to send you in a whirlwind without you even realizing it. It's enough to make you start practicing, self-sabotaging behaviors without you even realizing it. It's enough for you to end up in a conflict just like that. And just to see, this is why I got to stay in isolation, God. This is why I have to stay in hiding, right? Because you don't want to move out. So it's like everything is geared towards keeping you safe. Like our brains are designed to keep us safe. Our brains are not designed to help us flourish. They are designed to keep you safe. And your brain right now says isolation and hiding equals safe. But your outcomes in life, even though you feel safe, you desire to flourish. Like you are a creation. You know what I mean? Like you are God's creation. You have expansion in your body. So not being able to expand, not be able to create, not being able to truly express yourself, that is a bondage within itself. So that means that now there needs to become an awareness of the fact that, hold on, wait, my brain has convinced me that I'm safe from all of the enemies and all the things and the threats that is created. But me not being able to express myself also feels like a threat. Me not being able to expand also feels like a threat. Me also not being able to create feels like a threat. Me not being able to actualize my full potential feels like a threat. So now we need to expose to our brains that that's not the only threat out here. You know what I mean? And then now you have to go through the process of really assessing all of the threats that you are seeing and really going through those things one by one with God and rebuilding that trust, right? And allowing Him to help reshape your mind, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, to reshape your mind so that you can have a different perspective. And with that new perspective, that's 1 inch forward you can go. You know what I mean? That's 1 foot forward that you can move. Be careful to not be so eager. And what I mean that, okay, I get it. I'm in isolation. I'm hiding. Okay, I'm coming out, right? He gave me that song today. I was on my walk for about an hour. I was praying in the spirit and I heard, I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Like that was the song that was playing, right? So it's like, you want to be like, okay, I'm coming out. I'm here. No. That 1 year of mandatory self-care is for development. Development still needs to happen, but now it's going to be purposeful. So instead of you just hiding somewhere, right, in some dark corner of the earth, instead of you just hiding there just for the sake of hiding, no, now you're going to move from it just being this, cave that you're hiding in into incubation, right? Like it's actually serving a purpose. You're actually being developed. You're actually being prepared. Okay. Because the image I got when I was on my walk is imagine a lion. Okay. And here you are, a lion, and you have a thorn that is in your paw, and you have stepped away from everything because of this thorn that's in your paw. Right. Okay. So now you're sitting over here as a lion, and you're in the corner and you're licking your wounds. You're licking it. You can't walk. You can't put your hands on the ground, but you're just sitting there in the corner. You feel safe here. You feel comfortable. It feels less painful because you're not putting stress on the wound, but you're not healing the wound. And many of you, isolation has been a way for you not to put stress on your wounds, but you haven't healed your wounds until you actually go through the process of actually taking that thorn out your paw and actually stitching it up if it needs stitch and allowing that real healing to take place, that rehabilitation, walking on it again. You haven't healed. So for many of you guys, you are like a lion with a thorn in its paw, and you're just off to the corner, and you're thinking that because you're not applying stress, that means I'm healed. No, go ahead and walk on that paw and see how triggered you get. So isolation is keeping you away from the triggers and, all of these different things. God wants you actually to develop skills, communication skills, conflict resolution skills, right? Like real skills to deal with people. When you look at and it's time for me to get off now, but when you look at the different laws and the different things that he did with Israel, so much of the 10 Commandments is around society, meaning it's around your interaction with others, not coveting, your neighbor's wife and their things, not stealing, not killing, right? So it's like, okay, love the Lord your God, make sure you rest on the Sabbath day, not having any idols. And then the rest of the 10 Commandments, so much of it is built on society and your interaction with society. Like he wants you to develop these skills. He wants you to develop characters. Like character building is a part of this process. But for isolation, you don't have to worry about character building because I'm not dealing with nobody. So I ain't got to worry about it. But not dealing with people robs you of the opportunity for your gift to flourish. And it robs you for the opportunity for you to see just how amazing what God has in you actually is. So releasing your survival strength, because you being in this state, it's survival. So releasing your survival state, it is so critical and it's so important. And this is why going into that Esther year and launching that Esther year is going to be key, right? That fasting, which is why I talked to you guys about the 3-day fast. I have that free resource there for you guys, that freedom prayer, thousands of downloads there. So praise God. The 3-day freedom fast guide for those of you guys that want a more structured, more intense, I'm not gonna lie to you, process, but it really helps you with drawing out those lies, because that's what it's really gonna take. Like you're going to have to begin to go through that. The spiritual process obviously is the fasting, but go through the practical process of really uprooting all of those weeds that are in your mind. Okay. And the 3-day freedom fast guide, it deals with the spiritual piece, but it also deals with the practical piece in that. And then when we get into the Beauty for Ashes program, which is also included in the Esther Year kit, now we're really dealing with some real deep rooted issues, especially when it comes to operating in that survival mindset, that survival mode, your survival strength, and not wanting to release, not wanting to step into trust, which keeps you from receiving, right? Keeps you from thriving, keeps you from walking in the button. There's so many things it locks you away from. So obviously, I shared with you guys last time, you can use the code PREPARE and that will give you 25% off. But in the previous video, I said the first 100 of you guys are going to be able to take advantage of 50% off. And it was supposed to cut off right then and there. Y'all did not play. You guys did not play. So I feel led right now, what I'm going to do is I will extend it. Okay, so I will extend that promotion one more time for you guys that missed it. Okay, so for those of you guys that missed it, you don't have to email me, you don't have to message me, just go inside the system, put the code PREPARE in, and it's going to give you 50% off. Okay, so take advantage, because honestly, it really is my gift to you guys. But nonetheless, like I feel like I already did my part. But I do understand that there's some of you guys like, hey, Michelle, I just need an extra day or an extra week, whatever it may be. Look, I extended it. Okay. So take advantage and let's launch that Esther year. We're starting the third quarter here, October 1st. This is the perfect opportunity for you to end the year strong and really launch yourself into an Esther year in 2026. This time next year, you're already going to be in a different flow because you're nourishing yourself differently. But again, it all begins with surrender. Like I said, I have plenty of resources to assist you in that. But this is really the season to get out of hiding, okay? It's really the season to get out of isolation and stop allowing the enemy to just convince you that you being over there stranded, okay, on that deserted island and you operating like a whole cactus, right? Like that's God's best. It's not. It's not. God has so much better for you. And I am rooting for you that you are going to begin going through the process to accessing that. Okay. So I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. Bye.